What's up, everyone? Thank you for checking out this episode of Raised A Geek. This week, we discuss episode 3 of HBO's The Last of Us, titled A Long, Long Time. So let's get into it. I'm Chris, and as always, I'm here with my buddy Don. How we doing, man?
Chris, what is up today? My friend, we are okay, as usual. Cannot complain on this Monday evening because we just got to watch another episode of The Last of Us, so I got to be feeling pretty good, right? Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you? How is everything?
Good. Just trying to bounce back from the weekend. You know, it was like Royal Rumble on Saturday, then it was football all day Sunday, then The Last of Us, and then I crashed pretty much after. I had to wait until football was over to watch The Last of Us because that Bengals Chiefs game decided it wanted to take it all the way to the end.
Wanted to go crazy.
Yeah. So if it would have been like the first game where it was like, 3 touchdowns ahead, I would have just watched The Last of Us on time. But so trying to bounce back from all of the fun from the weekend and I don't know, you want to have like a Royal Rumble party. So you're like getting snacks and then you're like, football, I need snacks and drinks and a couple days of that. And you're just like, whew.
Then Monday rolls around and it's just back to regular, boring life.
A little bit.
The weekend is gone.
With freezing rain, always fun.
Ugh.
Don't know how to handle that shit.
You're a Texan. We don't do that.
Texan. Here. We don't do no freezing rain. Granted, pretty much the whole like city is shut down for like tomorrow. They're like late start. Tomorrow is late start day for everybody, so no one has to go out onto the road in the morning
because of rain.
Because of potential freezing rain. Because then our roads we don't have any salt. Yeah. So our roads, we have to wait until the sun naturally dissolves the ice. I've sat and watched the news before. They were like, it's right now, it's 30 degrees. By about noon, it should be 33, which is what we need because it's above freezing. I was like, what is happening?
Sounds treacherous. People are panicking in Texas.
Yeah. So a lot of late starts tomorrow, a lot of stuff. So, but I get to stay home. So I'm cool with that.
You'll make it.
Oh, yeah. 100%. As long as they can keep the power on, I'll be good.
Yes.
We're now a third of the way through The Last of Us.
Is
3,
it?
6, 9? Yeah, because there's 9 episodes.
I can do math. 3, 6, 9. Okay.
There you go. So we are a third of the way through. We are going to talk about it. But before we do, Don, got a little bit of news that I saw on my Twitter feed today. That I guess tomorrow is DC Day, and James Gunn is supposed to announce the slate of DC films, or his plan is supposed to come to fruition tomorrow, which, depending on when I post this, it may already happen. So let us know right or wrong or what we think, but I have no idea where this came from. Did he actually announce that this was happening?
I don't know. I know I did see some stuff about some announcements were going to be taking place. I didn't know they had their own specific day, like a special day, kind of like how, we always get Marvel stuff on Disney Day or during San Diego Comic-Con. So maybe this is their attempt at it. I know, hasn't DC had days before, like DC Pandemonia or something?
Fandom.
Jesus, what's Pandemonia?
Pandemonia.
Panda bears. But yeah, I don't know. I guess if there's going to be some announcements, I'll hear what's going on. I don't have anything against hearing this man's plans.
What would you like to hear? Like, we've talked about DC quite a bit. Obviously, the James Gunn dismantling of Wonder Woman 3 and basically ending the Snyderverse. We've talked about it here on the show, so definitely check it out in the past episodes, somewhere in there around our Black Adam review. We've talked about how hard it is. There's a Shazam 2 trailer that came out this week. Have you even watched it yet?
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Like, we've talked about how it's very hard. Like, Black Adam, where's the interest? Shazam 2, where's the interest? Aquaman 2, where's the interest? So if we're going to get this first step in this plan, what would you like to see announced? If there's just one thing, what would you like it to be?
I mean, the obvious choice is you've told me what you're not doing with Superman. So I'd like to know what you are doing with Superman. That would be my main thing. It's easy to tell people what's not going to happen, but then, okay, if that's not going to happen, what we all thought was, what Black Adam and Henry Cavill's Instagram and everything led us to believe. If all that's not happening, then okay, then what is happening with your most polarizing popular character? Arguably him, Superman and Batman.
So elaborate. What would you like out of that? Do you want to see like an actor? Do you want to see a movie? Do you want to see more of a synopsis?
I don't expect an actor announcement because I just don't. I think that would have probably leaked by now if they'd done that. Maybe just a plan, like there's been rumors that they want to go younger, they want to go origin, they want to kind of start this thing from the seeds up. But okay, then confirm it. Then, like, no more rumors, no more whispers about, well, this is what we think they're doing. No, like, if that's his plan, if you have a plan, at least give us the plan then, or at least parts of it. I don't know. I guess that would be my main thing, is like kind of see what's going on with Superman, what they're thinking about. I mean, maybe some confirmation of Batman 2. I mean, it's been kind of talked about, but James Gunn has never said that Matt Reeves is getting an official Batman 2.
Just that they've talked.
Right, just that they've talked. So something like that could be cool. Shit, I don't know. What about you? Did you have any?
I want to know who Dave Bautista is going to play.
Yeah.
I mean, is he going to be Hugo Strange? Is he going to be Bane? Is he going to be Superman? Like, I want to know who Dave Bautista is going to play, because he's going to play somebody.
Well, he follows that man around, James Gunn. That's his guy.
Yeah.
So
he's going to be somebody in this universe, and I want to know who it's going to be.
We know he's talked about openly, even before this, that he'd like to play Bane in DC. But I think now I just saw some stuff today that he was saying, he feels like he's probably too old to do that now, especially if they're starting with a lot of younger actors and origin stuff. He's like, I'm probably too old to do that, but blah, 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 whatever. But you never know. That'd be interesting.
He could still be Mr. Freeze.
He could be somebody.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be somebody. I just want to know who it'll be. Give that to us. I mean, we know what's going to happen. Just cast him in something real quick.
Well, how interested then, to expand on this conversation just a little bit before we go to our main topic? They've said that there's going to be a Flash trailer in the Super Bowl. Are you excited for it?
No.
Me neither, really.
I mean, I'm really not.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool, but I mean, once again, what's the point? What does it matter? It's just going to look like the Shazam 2 trailer did, except for Michael Keaton to be in it. I mean, maybe it'll be cool. I don't know.
But does it mean anything to you that still they're saying the studio is still very excited about this Flash movie? Does that do anything for you?
Not until they tell me why I should care.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, the studio was excited about it because they dumped a ton of money into it, so they need to be excited about it because they needed to make money. But as far as I'm aware, it's all dead. So once again, what does it matter? Now, if they tell me, hey, Flash movie is how they're rebooting this, you need to see this shit. Okay, cool. Maybe I need to watch this movie. But you know what? I'm probably still not going to, because Ezra Miller's weird. And there's so much just stuff. And this movie's been dragged out and talked about for so long.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same. I kind of feel the same way. If it's going to pop up on my screen during the Super Bowl, that I'm going to be watching anyway, so I'll watch it and I'll try to be open-minded, but I'm not like salivating for it like I have other things. So
yeah, I can't imagine what they would show that would make me be excited. Like, I just can't. I mean, it'll be some CGI nonsense, a couple jokes. And like I said, the Keaton thing will probably be cool. I'm sure they'll give that away. In some capacity. It'd be nice to see what this movie is, but like I said, it's now tangled up in this whole, I mean, what does James Gunn say tomorrow? If there's going to be actual announcements. I know the studio is excited for it and they're still pushing forward with it, but does it matter? It's the same thing we talked about. They're obviously excited and pushing through with Shazam 2. Is there a point? I don't know. So hopefully that's what James Gunn stands up and says, why we should care about the next year of DC movies.
Maybe that's going to be what we're most excited to hear. Just what he has to say in general. we've seen it typed in tweets and Instagram stuff and whatever. But yeah, just to hear from him maybe would be fun. So we'll see.
Hopefully we'll find out. I'm sure we'll talk about it if anything's worth talking about. But
most definitely,
we're going to keep talking about The Last of Us because this is worth talking about.
Yes, sir.
Episode 3, as I said earlier, titled Long, Long Time, dropped on HBO and is now streaming, so you can watch the first 3. Spoilers coming down the pipeline for last night's episode of The Last of Us and the game, some of the differences within the game, because this was the first episode that had a lot of deviation from the game. It was the first real big, like, this is completely different from the game, which we're going to talk about. But let's dive into what this episode was about. It started with Joel and Ellie following Tess's final wish and heading out to meet Bill, a prepper that they had business with in their past, in hopes of finding supplies in a truck. During the trek, Joel describes to Ellie how the world fell, which leads to a flashback introducing us to Bill and Frank as we follow their journey to the present day. And this was definitely kind of an offshoot episode. Like Joel and Ellie were kind of in the beginning, and then we kind of follow Frank and Bill, how they met. And these are both characters that were in the game, but we really kind of followed them. And then it was like 3 years later, 7 years later, 10 years later, like we tiptoed our way back to 2023, leading into the end of this episode. But I think
that was hence the title Long, Long Time.
Long Time.
You know, that's kind of where the episode name came from. Yes, we were with those two guys for a long, long time.
Yeah, like 83 minutes. Long time.
Right.
But I didn't mind.
Mm-hmm.
This was a nice fleshed out kind of side quest that added some more depth to this bleak world that we're kind of a part of. They obviously, which we'll dive into here in a few, made some changes to the overall, like, Bill's journey, Bill and Frank, and even Joel's journey in the game. The motivations are different than they were in the game, but they still go into the same place and we still reach the same conclusion. Now, I know there's a lot of purists who wanted to see the school in Bill's town recreated for live action. But they went a different route and they gave us a love story in the middle of all this bleakness between Bill and Frank. And I really enjoyed it. It was a good 80 minutes, little side adventure. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. It was quality 80 minutes.
Didn't know what you were going to say there.
I hated this shit. No, no, I'm with you. I liked it a lot. Side quest, as you said, can kind of fit in here pretty well because that's more or less what it was. But I get tired. I don't get tired of it, but I'm just kind of sick of hearing, which I guess is saying the same thing as I'm tired of it. But like that something has to be constantly driving the main narrative forward to be quality. You know, you hear people say, well, it didn't push the story forward in the way I wanted it to. It felt like, you know, what we're saying, a side quest. Well, it can still be quality entertainment and just kind of veer in another direction than what you're expecting and still be good. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm kind of like addressing the complaints I've been seeing online and whatever. People are like, well, it's kind of just like a side story. Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean it's not good. I don't get that complaint. So yeah, I've just kind of been laughing when I see that. Like, what do you mean it's just a side story? It's like, it's part of this world. It's part of the story. It may not be, you know, exactly what you thought it was going to be, but it can still be good anyway. Kind of understand what I'm saying?
Yes, 100%. And in the game, you were on this side story with Bill as you were figuring out Bill and Frank's relationship and reading letters and finding clues. And yeah, you were going through and you were dealing with infected, and you had the big action sequence at the school trying to get the truck radio, and you ended up in the same place, but you were still learning the same information. You were still figuring out. Now they went a different route with it, where they went more love instead of hate. The game was very much Bill and Frank's relationship was to the point where they hated each other.
Right.
So they went a different route with that. but it still has the proper motivation for Joel. Joel walked away from Billstown in the game knowing that he needed to be better and protect Ellie, and he left Billstown in this show knowing that he needed to be better and protect Ellie and do what he has to do. And so, and he got a truck and he got supplies. I mean, it was like you kind of hit the same beats. Now, I'd like, as you're saying, I agree. Like, I've watched shows where the main cast is there for 45 minutes and nothing happens to the story. They did more in the side quest to move along the story and paint the world than a lot of shows do with their run times for some of these things. I mean, I watched the first 3 episodes of The Rings of Power, and I can't tell you a damn thing that happened to move along any plot or any character motivation. And those episodes were 70 minutes apiece as well. And then this set up this whole world, set up Bill and Frank got so much more fleshed out than they ever were in the game. And you got this beautiful story in the middle of it, in the middle of all this dreariness and bleakness. And I'll tell you, without giving spoilers, this is a bleak story. I mean, clearly we've had 2 episodes that kind of end on downers or have downer moments. You know, it's a bleak world and it's a bleak story. So the fact
all
that
3 episodes so far have
all 3 episodes ultimately,
moments.
yeah. But even this one still at least had that happiness and that hope, and you had moments of that. And you know what, sometimes shows, the best episodes are bottle episodes or are episodes that are off. I can tell you right now, one of the best Walking Dead episodes watched in the 6 seasons of the show that I did watch was in season 6 with that guy, who's the guy with the stick who was in the first episode. I'm blanking on his name. Morgan.
Okay.
When Morgan does the story where he talks about when he was held captive by the guy and learned like Tai Chi and learned how to be like peaceful and that all lives matter. That episode is one of that. Yeah. I watched it recently as well, because when I was rewatching season 6 to try to start watching the show again, which I didn't do. That's a whole other side quest for me to go on. But like rewatching that episode, that was one of the best episodes of TV I've seen. Just Morgan, and it had nothing to do with the full plot, but it filled in Morgan's story. And this is very similar. Like sometimes if you could do an episode this well and tell this kind of story with characters that you don't know, you know, it's like that's good storytelling. And I don't mind when they take a side adventure, but it still has impact into the main story, and you can tell a good story in a compact period of time.
Yeah, it wasn't one of the best episodes of Breaking Bad, like with Walter White just trying to kill a fly.
Yeah.
For like an entire episode that didn't have anything to do with anything, but it was still, you know, beautifully shot and written and acted and like a piece of art.
And there was subtext into it as to why he was obsessed with that and why he was doing that. And it tied into the full story, just like this had subtext and it had reasoning. And it was a parallel for Joel and how he's acting. You know, if he doesn't let love into his life, again, he's going to end up like, you know, Bill was going to if he wouldn't have found Frank.
Well, like this episode did 2 things. It gave Bill a character arc that wasn't there in the game and actually made him an actual human and made him actually feel like more than just a vehicle of getting Joel and Ellie from point A to point B. Because, you know, spoilers for the game, that's what he kind of was.
Yeah.
With just some little hints of this episode in there, but they didn't expand upon it. This, they actually made him a person, gave him a life, gave him a story, gave him meaning. Like what he actually did meant something. And I think that's great for a TV show. Like not everybody is just like I said, a vehicle for Joel and Ellie to do what they're doing. Like other people can exist in this world too, and we can enjoy them. So that's great for television, what they did here. And like you were just saying, it as far as saying, you know, it's not driving the story forward. Well, it is, because at the end, the letter that he reads kind of opens Joel's eyes to what's now in front of him and what he needs to do with Ellie and how that's going to kind of propel him moving forward. So it did move the story forward. So even people complaining about that, like, you're wrong. I'm sad to tell you that you're wrong. I don't know. I feel like people are just going to hate. You knew they were going to. There's, you know, just always going to be people like that. I thought it was a really well acted, great episode, and like Nick Offerman's a beast. Murray Bartlett is a beast too. Those two guys together, they just really kind of stole this episode, and this was their moment to shine and like
They owned
showing
it,
a light
man.
on these two characters. Yeah.
Yeah, the two of them together, they just had the chemistry. They just did those characters. And even like Nick Offerman, he's Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec. He's always the big burly man. And to see so much emotion that he could give off, to show he was afraid, to show he was scared to open himself up. He's so much emotion and so much just in his performance. You just felt all of the different experiences that he was going through and the type of person that he was, and he was able to bring that out. And then to see like Murray Bartlett as Frank to come in and really open that shell was just awesome to watch. It was just, you're just intoxicated by it. You couldn't not watch.
Yeah. It's a tragic love story,
Mm-hmm.
and who doesn't enjoy those?
Right? Romeo and Juliet's been around forever.
No, yeah, but Nick Offerman, I just like gotta further convey, like I didn't know he could bring this kind of, emotion to a role. So hats off to him. I was really impressed. Like, especially seeing a man, he's playing a character who, Bill, if you played the game, too, but just like you could tell even in the beginning of this episode, he's like a gruff, tough, outsider, doesn't like other people. But just to kind of see the emotion he was able to, like, his sad faces in this episode made me sad. And like the emotion just kind of came through, and it was, a touching, rewarding watch. So man, I am really happy with his performance. Like we said, Murray Bartlett too, but especially Nick Offerman, they just kind of killed this one. And this is like Bill's episode. He had his moment in the game. He's a side character. People like it. I know people are complaining, well, we didn't get all the fun stuff with Bill and Ellie. You know what? Okay, but it's different. You got to let that baggage go. You know what I mean? You got to let the baggage of being a gamer who wants it to be 100% like the game. You got to let that go to try to enjoy this in a different way. It's an adaptation. They're going to change things. They're going to, Neil Druckmann, if he didn't want to do it this way, he wouldn't have done it this way. But they came together and they said, this is a beautiful way we can tell this story, give Bill some actual depth to his character. And they ran with it. And I think it was a really smart choice. Yeah, I don't know. You just got to let
otherwise you're just watching, you're just creeping through backyards.
Right. I mean, if you want
it's fun to play.
Right. I admit the dialogue that we missed out on between Ellie and Bill is a bummer. That would have been fun. That's fun during the game. It's funny. They have funny interactions. But if you want that, you can go play the game again. You know what I mean? It's right there for you. They wanted to tell this story in a kind of a different way. So let them cook, man. Let them do it. Let them do what they're going to do. And I think it really worked out in the positive. I mean, I say the same things when we used to hear people talking about Game of Thrones. Well, like that wasn't exactly like the book. Okay, cool. It's different. If you want it to be exactly like the book, go read the books. This is, I don't know.
And that's the thing. The game is still there. We can still play the game. We can still experience Bill's Town. The people who are missing out on that are the people who don't play the game and are just watching the show, and they don't give a shit because they don't play the game. Right. So, like, I can turn on Last of Us Part 1 3 different ways and play through Bill's Town today if I really want to re-experience that. I can go on YouTube and watch it if I want to watch someone play it. Right. There's many ways for me to still experience, and I know it exists. So I'm happy with being one of the special people in the world that gets to experience all that Bill's Town has to offer, including now this chapter. But I can't be mad about the creator and director and writer of the game stepping into this TV platform and saying, this is what I want to do. Okay, cool, man. It's your story.
Right. Tell it the way
now
you
if Neil Druckmann didn't have anything to do with this, and this was just like HBO doing their thing, and they wanted to try to do something on their own and started just adding in a bunch of stuff, then I'd be like, ugh, that's not the same, or this, that, or the other. But you have the creator. It's like when you're going to see an adaptation of a book that you read or something, it's like, well, when I see written by the author, well, I'm not going to be mad about that because the author thought it was a good thing to do. So, cool.
Or it's like when you go see a band play and they add an extra part to a song that's not on the album.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like add an extra guitar solo or make it longer or change the way they sing it. You're not like, that doesn't sound like the album. Like, no, motherfucker, you're here listening to their new rendition of it. They created this. They can do whatever the hell they want with it.
They've been playing the song for 20 years. Let them add a new riff in there so they don't get bored and want to die.
That's what this is. This is just Neil Druckmann adding a new riff to Billstown and making it for TV. So I don't know. It's
100%. Yes. Would it have been, like you said, would have been cool for Bill and Ellie to meet and actually have interactions. Of course, the school would have been badass to see in real life. And who's to say that it doesn't resurface in a later episode out of order, but just the same similar scene, you know?
Right.
But yeah, you can't just have a TV show that's just like a game where it's like, all right, the battery's in the school, go get it.
Right.
I mean, when you have the possibility to be able to do more, then do more. Mm-hmm. And I know Neil Druckmann said it after the episode, like, if it's going to be the same, or worse, we're going to do what we did in the game. If it's going to be better, we're going to do it.
Right. And that's what they did.
I mean, this was better. You played it more recently than I have, but from a TV standpoint, this was good.
No, man, they made Bill a person. Frank is a person now. He wasn't.
Yeah, Frank was never met in the game.
No, they even said, this isn't a spoiler, they said it in the after show, like Frank's dead by the time you even meet Bill. So it's like Frank became a person. Frank's an important character now in the lore of this show and this universe. So yeah, a lot of smart choices, I think. And
I even like I wasn't expecting it to even tie in that Joel knew Bill, that Tess knew Bill. I don't think that wasn't in the game, right? Did he know Bill?
He did know Bill because that's where they were going to find Bill. So they inferred that they knew each other. They never said how or where they knew each other. This show kind of filled in those gaps.
It's cool.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, it's a shame, but that we'll miss some aspects of that. But like I said, I can go play the game. I'm okay with what Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett did. Like, that's gonna be remembered. And like I said, I love when there's a special episode that is its own thing that can stand on its own, and you just have something that feels special. And that's what this was.
Yeah. I agree. And, it caught me a little off guard being, I didn't expect it, but I'm glad because I didn't know how surprised we were going to be watching this show. How many things were going to happen that we didn't see coming. We were still going to enjoy them because we got to see, we're getting to see one of our favorite games adapted to TV. But the first two episodes kind of like we know what's coming. We know what's going on. Oh, I recognize that place. I know what's going to happen to Tess. I know what's going to happen here, happen there. We said spoilers for this episode. I didn't think that Bill was going to die. Bill doesn't die in the game. So I'm glad to be surprised at the same time, too. I'm glad they could do something. I didn't know that. I mean, Bill was going to die in this episode up until he tells Frank, I've poisoned the entire bottle. We're going to go down together. I kind of still expecting Bill to survive. He's going to meet up with Joel and Ellie sometime down the line. We're still going to get a little shortened, briefer version of Billstown. But that didn't happen. I was like, oh man, they're doing this, huh? That's kind of cool and heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. So,
right. Yeah,
great.
It was done. Yeah. Like I said, it was done great. And I think, it was funny because I was watching it thinking the same thing. Like I'm sitting there, like especially when they got real old, I was like, damn, they got old, man. They had a rough 10 years.
Right.
And I was like, they seemed like they just aged like 10 years before. They were running and jogging down the street, eating strawberries and having a good time. And then all of a sudden they were just like old men. And I was like, Jesus. And then I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, is he going to be that old when he meets Joel? Like, I was sitting there very confused as to how they were doing this. And I was starting to kind of like question, knowing that what I knew from the game, I felt like you said was going to still happen. So I was still very confused. I'm like, how are they doing this? And then, like you said, when you realize that they're not, I'm like, oh,
well,
okay,
that makes sense. Right.
I could deal with that.
Right.
Now, and you just recently played the game. This is going to be a complete side thing from the earlier of the episode, but was Ellie as psychotic as she seems in this show? in the game. Like she seems uncomfortably psychotic. Like she has that like bloodlust in her eyes when she wants to do stuff. You did that scene in the basement with the infected that she's like poking and cutting. She just seems demented. And I don't remember that character trait.
No, they've kind of upped her a little bit.
Okay.
But at the same time, she has no problem like killing people and monsters. But she doesn't. But in this show, they're making it seem like she's getting little like kind of some sick joy out of it.
Yeah.
Especially in that scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a little unexpected. So maybe they're tweaking her a little bit. It might, pay off or make a little more sense later. But yeah, it is a little bit of a change.
Okay. That's what I thought. I'm like, I remember her being kind of annoying in the opening up to this point where she's nonstop talking. She's not listening. She's not paying attention. She hasn't really developed that relationship with Joel to want to listen to him or do anything. She's still like said being a 14-year-old kid. And it makes sense. So those aspects of it, but there's a bloodlust to her that
she's got the bloodlust. All right.
Yeah, she's got the bloodlust. And it just is. And I'm like, I don't remember that. It makes me uncomfortable. Like for a character that I feel like I'm supposed to like.
Yeah.
It's this weird thing. I'm like, they're making her out to be like this little psychopath who's just like burning ants with a magnifying glass. And I need to be on the lookout for when she moves up to cats and dogs. And
well, maybe it's a little more realistic. Maybe. I mean, she is just killing zombies.
I know, and I don't know what it's like. I'm sure there's a parallel in there of like this is a girl, and they've talked about it a little bit, like who grew up in this world. She knows nothing but the infected. She knows nothing, as they talked about, like you flew in a plane and she's very like was excited to be in the car. And like, she's very kind of obsessed with the olden days. And if you grew up in this like wasteland where, like I said, you have to kill these infected who used to be people. And, that's all she knows. So it's like, could be traumatic. And the way that Joel handles it is one thing. And then now we're seeing the parallels as to what it's like when someone grows up in that. So I'm like, that could be it, but it's just like I said, it's a slightly jarring for me. I'm watching and I'm just still sitting here going, I really want to like Ellie, but I'm like, when did I start liking her in the game? Because they kind of are making her a little creep,
little crazyzoid.
Yeah, a little bit.
No, I follow you on that. It's a little bit of a tweak. Most of the major personality traits are there. She's a little goofball, but then in those quiet moments, like when she watched Joel beat that dude to death, and she kind of had that joy. And then the scene with the creature in the basement. Yeah, it's a little concerning. We'll see where that leads.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I'm like, where are they going with this? Because like I said, this is different. This is different than I'm expecting. I don't know where they're going with that.
Yeah.
But no, man. Overall, it was a great episode. Like I said, I'm excited. Next week, we're going to Pittsburgh. And that looks like it's picture perfect from the game. I'm super excited. And anybody who was complaining that there was no action in this one is going to get all the action that they want next week, because that's most likely going to be a lot of hiding behind counters and throwing bottles. A
lot of sneaking, a lot of nail bombs. Oh, man. Bill didn't teach Joel how to make a nail bomb like in the game. How's he going to do it? Damn it.
He's probably not, because nail bombs would be insane.
They were my favorite weapon in the game. I needed those things for the bloaters. Really did.
You do. Yeah. You really, really did. I'm the itch to play this game is insane for
Starting
me.
To get at you.
You know what? I was hoping that they were going to do a sale. When the show came out, and they were going to be excited that like, hey, let's put the game on sale so more people will buy it. But I think the problem is everybody went out and bought it without the sale. Yeah, so now I'm like, well, I don't want to pay $70 for it.
Yeah, they're not going to lower the price now. People are probably buying that. I mean, I know it did shoot up the charts on the PlayStation Store, the first game, the second game, both of them. So
yeah, I don't know.
Might have to wait a while.
Might have to dust off my PS4 remaster.
Or like we were talking about in private, we could just do a swap.
Yes. Yeah, I'll mail you Final Fantasy. We'll do it. We'll discuss off.
We'll talk about it off air.
We'll talk about it. But yeah, man, I'm still digging this show. This is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch the world care watching the ratings. We got an announcement, which I don't think we said. Season 2 is confirmed.
Which is awesome. Yes.
So we will get season 2. I'm so freaking excited for that.
Right. And Neil Druckmann has already said it even before, but like did say if there is a season 2, it's going to adapt part 2, the game. Like how wild
wait.
is that?
Get ready for all the hate again.
We're not getting into that now, but it's crazy. That's going to be some craziness.
I'm super excited for that. I love, like I said, this is one of my favorite stories. You stack it up there next to American Gods, of just being some of the great literature and just stories of recent memory. And to me, I played Last of Us multiple times, and I've read American Gods multiple times, including comic book form and novel form. And I just love those stories. I was mad that show sucked as much as it did.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, that's a different conversation for a different day. But I just, like I said, still super excited. And I sit here and just wait for Sunday night. And it's been a while since had a show once again that, like I said, HBO just keeps bringing it. We've had House of the Dragon this year. Wasn't there something else before?
House of the Dragon. I know I didn't watch White Lotus. Maybe you did.
I did watch White Lotus.
Well, and then, speaking of that, what's cool is this show is going to end after their 9th episode. There's a week off and then Succession's back.
Yes, I know. I know. I saw that date for Succession this week, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's like Last of Us goes into Succession. I need to figure out if I need to rewatch season 3 of that or not.
Hey, I'm sure you can find a recap.
Recaps, YouTube recaps. All you YouTubers out there, find us a recap for Succession.
Send it our way.
But I want to thank everyone who's coming out to the YouTube channel, Raised A Geek over on YouTube. We've been seeing a spike over there, seeing our faces as we're smiling and waving at you. So I want to thank everyone who's checking out the YouTube channel. Make sure you head on over there and like and subscribe to the channel so we have a lot of cool stuff. We're talking about some game streams. We're talking about doing some other smaller content and some other things we don't talk about here on this main show and dropping it on some of these platforms. So you don't want to miss out. So make sure you like and subscribe over on YouTube at Raised A Geek. You can also hit us up on Twitter and Instagram at Raised A Geek as well, or shoot us an email at raisedageek@gmail.com. We are all over the place. I think we're on Facebook as well now. Been posting over there. So definitely, once again, if you find a platform, chances are we're on it now at Raised A Geek. So definitely look us up, join a conversation, hit us up with those reviews. 5 stars helps the show get out there. And we want to thank everyone who's been coming out. These Last of Us shows have been quite successful for us, and we want to thank you guys and gals for checking them all out.
Most definitely. Well said. You are getting good at that. Yes, we definitely want to hear from you guys and hear what you're thinking about this show. You can tell we're enjoying it, but we want to hear from you. So hit us up in all those places and let's talk all about it.
Last of Us. But we'll be back next week, probably seeing if James Gunn announced anything. We'll talk about it. If not, we'll be here talking about episode 4 of The Last of Us. So that's going to do it for us this week. So for Raised A Geek, I'm Chris.
And I'm Don.
And thanks for checking out the show,
where geek is all we speak.